All right, look at what we got here. Hello folks, how are you doing? Another finish job. It's got to be a good 10 pounds here. You know, there's some things that need to be addressed. There's like a little, I don't know if you can see it, there's a dent here. And he drilled the holes for the strings, and they're a bit crooked. I'm going to see if I can, there's something I can do to help bail him out on that and get those straightened. He used a hand drill. He didn't have a drill press big enough. So we're going to pull all these out. I might route a lozenge shaped ebony or something in there. I also have a brass inset, and I also have like a Yamaha style thing that drops in. But we got to get these out because I'm going to run this through the sanding planer in the garage here. Well, I don't expect to remove too much weight, but I want to get the surface sanded, and I'll probably reroute this half round around here. I want to try to get this dent out of here. So that's what we're doing today, and then we're gonna finish it in a 2K. I spoke with him about the option of maybe doing a burst on there, a subtle tobacco burst to show you the color of the wood. Okay, let's get these things out of here. Get a little coaxing here. Okay, so it's my $160 yard sale special. Need a little work. Bought some nice new belts for it. I got a Harbor Freight sucker upper vacuum thing to suck up the dust here underneath it. And it makes an awful lot of noise. So let's make some noise, boys. Alright, sanding time. I'm using like 100 grit, something pretty coarse. So these crooked holes here, I think what we'll do is we'll plug these holes with some maple dowels, and then we'll put it on the drill press and we'll re-drill these holes so they're accurate. Then we'll put a metal thing here and it'll cover up all that oopsies there.
To me, those things are like a submarine with a screen window. The most universally hated thing I've ever seen, other than like super drill. Horrible.
Okay, I just plugged those holes and routed a little area there to be able to install one of these. And that'll sort of equalize everything. Yes, looks much neater. Yeah, so that'll clean that up very nicely. Okay, sanding time. Little spot there. Okay, I'm done with the 100 grit, 150 grit I think. And I'm switching over to 320. We're going to actually spray this like a Jacobian or a mission brown or tobacco brown burst. We're going to put a little thing on there. So did a pretty good job sanding it, but if there's any remaining scratches, you're not going to see them because they're going to be, very, very dark. The money sides, the front and the back, facing sides, we're going to be sure to sand them very well and make sure there's no scratches from the previous grit still existing before we put our finish on it. We're going to use a 2K, and that's going to act as our filler and top coat all in one. Just going to put about 3 or 4 coats on there and make it nice and thick. That's going to be gorgeous. It's going to be gorgeous. The hardest part of any sanding any guitars, here and here. Go about it methodically. Well, everything that's facing me. Get these 45s done. Get these rounded corners done. I'm going to do a little bit of a burst around the edge. I think that's going to look luxurious. Luxurious. A little spot there. I had to do a little super glue touch up there. So it'll cover up all that up. But that's the only big deal really. We're going to put it first around here. What I'm going to use, people say, oh, don't mix nitro with 2K. In this case, I'm using a very thin mixture of stain, nitro, and thinner. Very thin because I want it to atomize very easily and very fine. I don't want a thick, heavy, gloppy looking cylinders. So they're nice, well atomized. So what the nitro will do is just act like a glue, a fixative for the stain, the liquid dye that I'm putting into the mixture. So, in that case where I'm going to be following it up pretty quickly with the 2K directly after spraying first, it's going to mix with the 2K, and see most of the time, when they talk about don't mix, don't spray a 2K on top of the nitro. The nitro is already rather thick. It's cured. It's on the guitar. It's been and you don't want to spray a 2K on top of a thick surface like that, because the 2K will expand or contract at different rates and cause all kinds of wrinkles and terrible things. In this case, it's just a fixative, and the 2K is going to pretty much be much it's not going to, we're going to mix it thin, we're going to mix it dark, and a little bit of nitro will act as a fixative, and it'll be just fine. Then we're going to dial this down even more. Then I'm going to go first around the front and back. Here I'm making sure that I have the rounded over edge covered. So I'm hitting it at a 45-degree angle and just making sure that it's the same darkness as the rest of the sides. Okay, that looks lovely. I'm going to switch to the 2K. It's only been about 10 minutes. Yeah. Always check where your gun's at, because most likely you cleaned it and had it wide open. So don't forget to adjust your gun before you spray your case. But I know that's an obvious thing, but I made that blunder. I have made that blunder. We're gonna start off the piece, leave the piece, and don't pull the trigger while it's over the surface. Always do it over here or over here. Go fully past the piece and overlap it 50 to 75%. Hey, yeah, looking great. Actually, it looks a little gray. That's because we sanded it, and I'm gonna put on the second coat. I also did a little touch up on the upper part there. I sanded through just a little bit, but we just hit it again with a little mission brown, and we're continuing on. Okay, we have 2 coats on there. We're going to put a third on. I'm going to sand it with some 600 with my machine here. Alright, let's see how we're doing. Maybe it'd be nice if we didn't have to do a third coat, but we probably will. Let's see. So our first 2 coats are, yeah, okay. Little shiny spots there. You know, shiny spots. Okay, wet sanding, wet sanding. I'm wet sanding with my machine. I think I have like a 320 in here to knock off the high stuff. And this is a piece of 400. Just trying to get rid of all those shiny little spots, which were, you know, low spots. Trying to get those smoothed out, and then I'll hit it with a, you know, come at it with a 600. And then probably 1,000. Maybe 800. And then 1,000. And then 1,500. We might try buffing it at 1,500. I had that lime green guitar I did. That's the finest grit I used, and it came out really good. But I got the finish while it was still like 24 hours old from, you know, from when I sprayed it. So, I'll say sanding. You know, I'm looking for those little shiny little spots there. Just trying to get those all out of there because they'll show up when you buff it. So, you know, no shortcuts to a fine finish. I want to take as little off as possible. I don't want to sand through. That would be a bummer. It'd be repairable, but it would be, you know, a setback. All right. Okay, so we have it sanded to about 2,000 grit. That should be pretty good, I hope. Got all the little pits out and stuff. That's 2 coats, 2K. I thought we might have to put a third on, but that was enough. You know, to get all the lumpy bumpies out and whatnot. What? I see a little lumpy bumpy I missed. Okay, well, we'll get to that in a minute. But we're just going to go ahead and buff it while it's still fresh. It's been about 20, you know, a little over 24 hours since I sprayed it, and I've got it finish sanded, and that's the sweet spot as far as buffing this stuff. It's better to buff it when it's young, which is the opposite of nitro. All right, let's just do it. I'm going to run this machine at about 1,600 RPM.